Next item on the agenda, discussion and possible action on the investment of land of the Dinosaurs.
I just wanted to make sure, I'm sorry, they are incorporated, Mike, they are incorporated.
It's an LLC.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we're done.
You got your
I thought, so I just wanted to make sure.
capitalized, everything's in.
We have our company form, and we're ready to pay taxes, yes, we're ready to go.
If you're fully capitalized and everybody, the people that paid their money in, or is this money the first money that's come in and, or, I think the idea was giving this to this money to a corporation that's capitalized with so much money, and this would be an additional amount to do certain things. I mean, there's a risk of us the city putting money in before the principals do.
No, the city's not putting money in. 4B Corporation's putting money in.
Yeah, with the city approval.
With the city approval, but it's not the city money.
Yeah. The mayor writes checks, but, okay.
No, we are not fully capitalized. We have $35,000 and promises for 70,000 more. That'll take us to 105. And then we have another 5,000 that's there waiting to go with one of the earlier ones. And we are looking to get to 250. This will be the go for us. If we get here, and that's without me not putting any money in, I'm going to put some money in there. So the answer to your question is no, we do not have all the money right now. But if we get this from the 4B, then we're good. We had an economic development study done by Impact Data, and they looked at this and compared us, took us 10 years out, and if I'm not mistaken, the numbers are about $13 million in taxable spending directly attributed to the play. And if you add the money that people who work in the play have, then we're just short of $20 million over 10 years. And once again, we started with some very conservative numbers. We picked a number that, if nobody shows up, we can play the first year without needing any more. But we're not counting on that. In fact, our pro forma never shows us going below $100,000 in the bank. The other interesting thing about this is we're going to pay the investors back. We're really counting on the 4B to get on board before we do some of the other things we want to do.
Who actually owns the intellectual property?
The intellectual property is property of the corporation, and we will share that property with the stockholders.
Well,
I'll make a motion to adopt it as if this is one of our projects.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Vote carries 6-0. What I was thinking is a loan to Land of the Dinosaurs LLC over a 6-year period, not paying any payments for the first 3 years, which will allow them to have enough cash flow. So essentially a delayed payment. You have a delayed payment for 3 years. And at that point, essentially let them carry the loan at 0% interest, to be paid back in full after 6 years. The payment's not starting for 3 years to allow them to grow in their business plan. In the loan document, have a security interest against the intangible and real or intangible and personal property of the LLC, which is why I ask who actually owned the rights.
I believe that the proposal that was on the table was a 5-year investment for $80,000. At the end of the 5 years, we get the $80,000 back, but we retain our portion of the ownership of the play. Is that correct, Mike?
I don't know that had ever been laid out. I think there were some. I thought there was just some options discussed of different mechanisms.
Yeah. Well, they had asked for a grant or an investment. The investment was going to be, as I just described. Is that correct, Mike?
That's correct.
And in
We asked for a grant, but we would of course consider a loan or an investment.
I'd like to say, take a moment and warn and discourage an investment, primarily because I don't think or if we did, to at least say make it a preferred non-voting, a preferred stock non-voting type situation. I don't think the 4B board wants to be involved in the daily operation, planning, management, etc. of a local business. I don't want to have to appoint somebody to the board of directors so that they can have to do what a board of directors does. This is a thing they have developed, and I would like to, personally, I would like to stay out of the ownership side of it. I mean, but the problem with an investment is if they go under, we don't have a security interest in any of their assets. I mean, so there's nothing we have that allows us to recoup any of our money.
If we give them a grant, we're not gonna get any money back. If we give them a 0% loan and they default, we're not gonna get any money back. And if we have $80,000 in as a stock option or as members, then we have a chance of getting it back.
And the thing about if you have a security agreement, if they default, and you can write that in such a way that if they ever become insolvent or if they ever become, go out of production, so they go out of business, the loans do, the loan is called, essentially. As a secured investor, you have a claim with their assets, and versus if you're a investor and they go under, you have no claim with their assets whatsoever other than the disposal.
I think Mike's already addressed the fact that the assets are going to be minimal as far as costumes or
Right.
if they have intellectual property. If it makes it go, then we'll get back.
But don't you as an investor, if y'all invest in it, don't you take on some liability of the production stuff as well? If something happens?
Not typically with an LLC unless they're undercapitalized so that they pierce the corporate veil, and because it's for state purposes, which is where all the handles, it's considered like a corporation. So, assuming that they're not undercapitalized, then no, there should be no liability.
I think the devil's in the details. There'll have to be an agreement between the Economic Development Corporation and Mike's Corporation. I would like to see it as an investment so that we get a return of our investment and that we have an ongoing royalty, if you will, in the percentage that investment would be going off into the future. I mean, that's really something that the EDC ought to be looking at as a business opportunity as to how we can grow and gain as they grow and gain off into the future.
Mike, does the LLC, will they own the animatronic dinosaurs?
Oh, no, the dinosaurs are, they belong to Billings, and we have an agreement with them, and it's an agreement for a certain amount of money. Well, it's in there, it's $51,000 for 51 performances to use their dinosaurs. We will own some costumes and some set design. Most of the sets belong to the county. Not everybody knows that. You know that because you and I were involved with the promise. The sets belong to the county.
Well, I think for Mike's purpose, he'd rather get on with this sooner than later.
Right.
And he's got a mechanism already for us to buy shares, and he'll get up and running extremely fast. If we have to go back and negotiate a contract and loans and hybrids, then that may take another month or two, and then they actually put him off schedule. We wouldn't have it happen this summer for lack of funding. And I would suggest that, and I'd make a motion at this time that we buy into the land of the dinosaurs as an $80,000 investment in the corporation and buying shares, as he's outlined before.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Mike, I'm the next step in this, just so you know, this has to be presented before council, and they have to vote on it and approve it. After that point, we'll go with the lawyer and have them draw up.
Okay. They need corporate papers or anything, or articles, or
I don't know.
any comments?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna defer to legal counsel on that. But just FYI, that's the next step in the process. Council has to approve it, and it